trusting the slow process and not wanting the metrics of the world. You know, the way you listen to God when there's really no map. You guys don't have a map for this. You're really navigating it in the Christian world in the way that God is showing you guys and reminding us that obedience is the real metric of success.
One thing I love about my generation is that we're wired for purpose. My generation is really hungry to make an impact, make a difference. And that's a luxury in a lot of ways, that we are in a place as a society that we can think beyond putting food on the table, that we can think, well, what are my specific skill sets, or how could I make a difference in society? And my generation is hungry to travel and hungry for purpose.
There is no boss to turn to, no leadership, no commander above you. You have to figure out what the best steps forward are, and you have to own it. You don't know if what you're doing is perhaps the right answer, or the perfect way to move forward, but you have to do your best and give God the rest. So that's been the biggest entrepreneurial challenge of this, is there's no roadmap.
Welcome to Build the Life You Love, where vision meets action and stories turn into legacies. Here, entrepreneurs, leaders, creators, and builders share not just the battles they have faced, but also the lives they are building boldly. If you're ready to dream bigger, build smarter, and live fully, you are in the right place. Welcome to today's episode of Build the Life You Love. I'm your host, Dylis. Today's guests are siblings. Really excited. I cannot wait to get into this conversation with them. They are also co-founders and visionaries. But more than that, they are builders of something the world hasn't quite seen before. Trent is a U.S. Force veteran. He's also a global traveler and a visionary leader with a background in business entrepreneurship and a master's degree in data analytics. We're also joined here by Bethany, who is Trent's sister. Bethany is a dynamic brand designer and a professional creative soul with expertise in graphic design, videography, and photography as well. What a combination to have in this beautiful business. Together, they are co-founders of Cross Exchange International, and we are going to be having a conversation about what Cross Exchange is, what they do, and how those of you that are listening can take part, can join this movement and experience what they are creating. From my conversation with them, I know that they are the first Christian network where they are building a very powerful platform where Christians can travel, they're bridging cultures, purpose, and people through service-centered, faith-driven travel, which means if you want to go on a missionary trip somewhere in India, in Jamaica, you just need to go on their website or go to them and they will make that happen because they have people and hosts that are able to hold you at a fee or minimal cost compared to what you will get in the commercial market. So I'm super excited about this. Again, this is just not a story of a startup. It's a story about listening when God speaks, building when there's no blueprint, and surrendering when everything in you wants to control the pace. Thank you so much for joining me, Bethany and Trent. How are you guys doing?
Hi, Dylis. Doing so well. And first of all, thank you so much for having us on Building the Life You Love podcast. It's an honor to be here, and we love what you're doing with this show, and it's truly a pleasure.
Hi, Bethany. How are you feeling today? Are you excited about this conversation?
I am. I'm so grateful to be here and for you wanting to engage us with this conversation. And we're just so excited to get to share and chat with you.
Awesome. I just can't wait to get into it. So let's go into this story before the idea. before we talk about the platform, this amazing business that you guys are building, we want to talk about who you were before the vision came. Trent, I want to go to you. Your story is amazing. We've seen pictures, videos of you traveling the world, 22 countries. Oh my goodness, I want that life, right? I want that life. And also, you are U.S. Air Force veteran, and so that really like combines your passion for traveling the world. So what shifted in you during a year of traveling to 22 countries, and who were you before you got this idea of cross exchange?
Sure. Yeah, it's a multi-part question. I'll try to answer both. Before I got the idea for cross exchange, I was a young Christian guy who had a love for travel and seeing the world and just making the most of the life that God has given me. And after high school, I decided that the best path forward would to join the U.S. Air Force. And one of the things that I hoped to do during my enlistment was to see the world. I knew that the Air Force had different bases and stations all over. However, during my time there, I ended up having one duty station in Little Rock, Arkansas. So I didn't leave the United States during my service. So that left this big travel bug in me, really wanting to see what was beyond. So I saved up some money and I found a work exchange platform where I was able to go and do homestays where I would go volunteer with families and stay with them, usually for about a month at a time, all over the world. And as you said, across 22 countries, and get to do that in exchange for room and board. So it made it really cost effective. And it was an extremely culturally enriching experience. That was a life-changing experience for me. Never had I experienced the generosity of all of these families before, seeing Christians and people of all different walks of life opening up their homes and letting me come serve them and really be served in many ways. Their generosity was just really, really, I'm so grateful for it. It was during that trip that the dream for cross exchange was born, when I was staying with a Christian family in New Zealand. I was working on a small farm. I got to do some sheep shearing there. It was such a dream. And and they we discussed my background and my affinity for entrepreneurship, my desire to go into that, but I wasn't sure what kind of business to start. I would love to merge my Christian faith with business. And it was through a discussion with that family in New Zealand that I had the dream for cross exchange. So I told Bethany about it shortly after. She loved it. And here we are a couple years later. We are making it happen. Crossexchange.org. We are live and we are trying to help other people, travelers and hosts, share the similar experience that I got to have when I was traveling and really make it so much better. Build an entire network full of Christians who want to serve and who want to open up their homes to travelers and build lasting connections that are just unique in a really, really special way.
Wow, one of the things that I loved about these, when we talked earlier, was that there's proof of concept already. You've lived this in 22 countries, and it's now ready to rock and roll. You open it out to the world for people to have that same experience. And if someone who wants to travel for an entire year like yourself, it can be possible with cross exchange, and I know that's what you guys are working so hard so that you can be able to provide that to the Christian community and remove the barriers and the blockages when it comes to not only being a missionary, but as a Christian being exposed to other cultures and how they see God, they serve God, and things of that nature. We're going to come back into that with you, but Bethany, we want to hear from you. When did you know this wasn't just a trends thing, but something God was inviting you both to carry?
Yeah, it kind of caught me off guard because originally it was Trent's thing. And I'm really blessed to have, a close relationship with my brother. And we've always shared that friendship. And so when he had this business idea, I was one of his first calls wanting to share it with, and I was fully on board from the start and supporting him. I thought it was a great idea and could bless so many travelers and hosts alike. But I was still in college actually at the time, finishing my last semester of college. And he started asking me for design help and creative strategy for Cross Exchange as he began thinking about a logo concept and all of those side of things. And so I was helping him with that. But then we started, discussing beyond that strategy for the business, who this could help and all of the things. And it was actually a subtle thing, but I started noticing he started switching the pronouns. So instead of saying, what do you think I should do for this? Or what should you, whatever, it switched to, what should we do about this? And little subtle changes I started picking up on like that, like, this is interesting. And then one day it was really sweet. He just said, Bethany, I can't do this alone. I want to do this with you. Would you join and co-found this with me? Which was a really easy yes at that point because I was so fully on board and wanting to help him, wanting to support this business. And so got to jump on board officially at that point.
Oh, that's such a beautiful story. I was just cracking up, like, and I can't laugh on it. That's so sweet. Oh my god, I was just picturing Trent switching the pronouns.
like I wouldn't notice.
Right? Like Trent, what was going on in your head in that moment? Like, how did you do it?
It became so clear that the branding, the design, the social media, there's so much that goes into running a business beyond just the technical side or the back end. So it just became so clear that Bethany was a huge asset to this initiative, and I'm so glad that she was okay with me switching those pronouns from I to we.
Oh my god, that's so nice. So let's talk about the moment this vision became real. What happened between, because I know you guys are you're Christian, you have Christian background, you take your relationship very seriously with God. Like Trent, when you were just opening up there, you said you wanted to merge your faith with your passion for
That's right.
business. So when did it go from prayer and just being convicted that this is actually what it is to then creating the platform and bringing Bethany on as a co-founder? How was that transition like to you? How did you navigate that? Was there any fears to carry that, or was it like full of passion? You're like, yeah, this is the only way to go and want to do that. What did you have to journey with?
I think there was both fear and passion on that journey because there is the fear of I don't know many people who are able to merge their faith with their professional careers, and that it tends to be siloed. And we practice we go to church on Sunday, and of course our faith matters to us throughout the week, but I hadn't seen too many Christian entrepreneurs outside of perhaps a church setting. So there was fear but also passion because I am excited about this. I truly believe that there is a market out there of Christians who are looking for this sort of thing, and many, many people who potentially, Lord willing, would be blessed by cross exchange. So it's the passion that overcame the fear of starting something that I really hadn't seen a precedent for.
So when you said you had fear, what was the fear like? What kind of fear were you dealing with? What did it have, like thoughts that were coming through, questions or doubts? What were they?
Yes, doubts of not sure if this is something that will ever be economically viable. We Cross Exchange is completely free if you're listening to this in the near future. With time, we plan to charge a subscription fee to the travelers. That'll help us keep the lights on. There are, of course, costs for running a business. And we would love for it to provide for our families, my sister, myself someday. So that is a fear that will it ever grow to the scale that it could be a successful business. Fear of wasting time. I'm in my mid-20s, and this is a time where I should be getting my professional career underway. Is this just a childish distraction? So there's so many fears about what will the world think and will this be successful. But it's through faith in God that I believe that it overcomes those fears. And I know that this is what God has me on this earth to do in this season, and I'm going to do it to the best of my abilities.
We're getting deeper now in understanding what cross action is about. Bethany, when you eventually became a co-founder, did you deal with any fears yourself, or you just knew that this was the way to go?
Well, I would definitely echo the sentiment that Trent shared. There's always fears, and we often like to call fears to each other lies because we know that's what it is. It's lies that the enemy is trying to whisper to you that you're not qualified, you're not good enough, you're going to fail. Whatever that attack may be in your mind, it can manifest as a fear. And we are so grateful to have each other to get to speak that out and get to correct those things and say, God has called you. You are equipped. This has purpose. He's given us everything we need. He is our sustainer, not ourselves. But me personally, I think the fear I dealt with the most was imposter syndrome because Trent traveled to 22 countries. I didn't. I graduated college, like I was so young and I didn't have the travel background. And so even now, it's something I battle with. I'm so blessed and thankful that my job includes interviewing hosts from all over the world. And it's so incredibly humbling because I'm just a little California girl who hasn't been to all these places and yet gets to have this like culturally enriching experience by getting to constantly talk with hosts all over the world. And so, yeah, that's something I struggled with. Am I too young? Am I not qualified enough? By not traveling enough? But I think that's beautiful when you feel in some way that you're incapable on your own, because it's that reminder that in our weakness that God can actually get the credit and he can get the glory. When we feel like we are fully qualified, it's tempting to feel that we're doing it on our own rather than relying on God. And so I like to remind myself of that often when those fears or those lies creep in.
Wow, that's so beautiful the way you articulated that, and just the fact that you guys have each other and you speak live to each other, and you can witness each other's vulnerability, those vulnerable moments, and you can hold each other in that place of safety, but nurture each other and lift each other up. So being a sibling power couple in business that is able to do that, I think it's a very important foundation, because not a lot of siblings that get into co-founding make it. I am co-founding with my elder brother as well in entertainment. It's good we have that respect for each other. We respect each other's profession, experience, what the gift, what you bring to the table. And I can see that in you guys even more beyond. And that is such a rare commodity when you are stepping out in business. It matters who you're partnering with or who you're building with. So that's something that is already so good for what you guys are doing. So let's go into cross exchange. You're building something the Christian world hasn't seen before. Maybe, I don't, I think they do it in the world. I don't know. You guys are gonna, give me updates on that. But the Christian world hasn't done that before. And you're doing it together. We've just talked about the fears, but when it comes to the vision and the execution behind the scenes, and now you're in the front aspect of it where you're meeting the travelers and the hosts, what has been the gifts and the stretch of building this? Bethany, you want to
Uh,
go or Trent?
Go ahead. Sure.
I mean, I could talk about that for so long because it has been such a joy and such a gift. And When we set out to create Cross Exchange, the first host kind of target demographic that we had in mind was similar to what Trent experienced, just families taking you in, immersing you in their culture, you're serving around their home. And we have that, and it's a beautiful thing. We're so excited to grow and expand those families and those host homes. But I think God has kind of surprised us already in providing us even beyond that incredible Christian ministries, missionaries, orphanages, ministries that we can partner with beyond host homes. And I get on these calls and I just like fight back tears because these host homes that are Christian mission organizations, they're telling us, like, we've prayed for this for so many years to have volunteers get to come and stay with us and be immersed in what the ministry we're doing here and participate. And we just haven't known how to connect with them. And then I'm sitting there going, I know travelers that are going to have their lives changed by getting to meet you and to get to serve alongside you and see the incredible work that you're doing and get to be part of it. And so it's just the coolest thing. We think we have the coolest jobs in the world, getting to connect these hosts and these travelers because it is amazing. And we are so excited to have host homes, just families, just bringing them into your home, but to have these mission organizations be so excited for this platform is, I think, in my opinion, beyond what we even imagined from the start.
That's so nice. Very touching. I could feel like what you experienced on those calls with those people. I could just feel it as you talk about it. Like, oh, Trent, how has it been for you? What's been the gift in any stretches so far?
Yes, it has been a gift. I agree with Bethany. It's talking to the hosts. We at Cross Exchange have implemented a policy of every single host who is on our platform, we speak with directly. And a similar situation like this, where we get to talk to them and verify that what their profile says is accurate. So it's a safety measure that we have implemented to build trust on our platform, but it also just lets us have so much fun getting to meet these incredible hosts all over the world who have the same passion for Christian ministry and want to connect Christians around the world. So that's been for sure a highlight. And a stretch has been learning how to get the word out about Cross Exchange. That's a type of work I haven't done in the past. Learning how to tell people and almost sales. I'm not even selling anything. I'm selling a free product, but I have to figure out how to let people understand what we are about and why they should trust Cross Exchange to open up their home and welcome in travelers or get on a plane and go stay with someone. So that has been a unique challenge that I'm grateful for. And I'm continuing to learn every day about how to do that in a better way.
Wow. You know what they say with every challenge is there's an opportunity and such a growing experience, isn't it? Learning new skills and I know Bethany, that's like her background as well. So she's really being resourceful with for you there, but you learning that and experiencing that and having to do sales pitches like every now and then. And a lot of people are scared of sales, especially the church people. We tend to like, no, I don't want to sell. I mean, everyone is free. But I think sales is becoming part of like a normal skill set right now. And we're seeing that for you guys, your story as well. Even though it's a free product service, we still have to talk about it. And even those who are listening right now, we talk about it with people they know, people who want to travel or want to host, and so sales is not really as bad as it is. It's become a normal skill set that we all need to have in this time and age as well. I want to go back to you guys as co-founders working and building together. Building anything really involves trust in each other. What have you learned about each other, and what have you had to unlearn about control?
Yeah, I would say that it is a challenge working with a sibling because, of course, I love my sister dearly, and that will never change regardless of how cross exchange goes. And there are days where we have great days where we get to talk to hosts, for example, or we have we reach a milestone with this business. There are other days where things aren't as promising, and we feel discouraged, and we have to encourage one another. And it's important that we always remember that we are siblings first and business partners second. And no matter what happens, whether God chooses to bless this business or it doesn't end up taking off as we dream, we will always have each other and our relationship with one another, of course, and that's grounded in our relationship with the Lord. So that's I've learned a lot about Bethany. I've seen her talents on full display with Cross Exchange, from the design. If all of your listeners, I recommend checking out crossexchange.org. The entire design of the site has been dreamed up by Bethany, from the visuals to the video. It's really impressive. So I've really enjoyed seeing my sister's skills on full display, and I'm excited to continue working with her.
Yes, I saw your video, your YouTube video, and one of the things that really stood out for me, I'm like, oh my God, this is such a good video. And then when we got on this conversation, I quickly found out that would have been done by Bethany as maybe the creative director or even, editor and whatnot. I was just in the back of my head, I was like, oh my God, so you did that video. That's so such a gift, Bethany, that you have, and Trent has really nicely spoken well of you. What has been the experience with you working with Trent, and what are you learning about Trent and different things of that nature?
Yeah. I mean, I really can't imagine doing this business with anybody else. And so everybody always tells us like how unique it is to be sibling founders and all of that. But it really does feel so natural to us, which is a blessing. But we have had to implement some practical things of like, okay, you're not just picking up the phone chatting with your sibling, your friend every day. It is business. And so some things we've implemented is, one, we start our meetings with prayer. And just as normal siblings, when you call, you don't usually start with prayer. That's, I can't say that that's what we usually do, but that's been super helpful and grounding of like aligning our visions, our purpose, and just kind of surrendering it to God as often as we can. Another practical thing we've done is that we both have final say in different categories. And so we're constantly, pushing and pulling. What should we do about this issue? Even if it's creative, I'm always running stuff by Trent, and, business stuff he's running by me. But there's certain areas that, like, if we disagree, he knows I have final say in this area. I know he has final say in other areas. And I think that has like brought a lot of peace to running a business together, of just knowing kind of our roles in that. And then, I mean, I would just echo what he said to wrap that up. Of it's so cool to see what a hard worker he is, and to see his skill sets. His skill sets go a little bit more on the back end. They can be easily unnoticed, but the business would not exist without him in any way, because he built all the back end structures, the ability for hosts and travelers to communicate, the web of hosts that you can see, the global map, all of those functions of back-end software, I don't even know the words to describe them, exist because of Trent. And so super grateful for all of his hard work. And anytime I have an issue, it's like he's Mr. Fix-It. He can figure it out. And so super grateful to have that partnership with him.
It makes all the difference to have the Mr. Fix-It. I mean, in your life, right? Especially when you're building a business that has to do with tech and those different things that we don't even have names to call.
Right.
Oh my God. I was actually going to ask you guys about the role that prayer plays in your decision making, and also when it gets hard, how do you navigate, maybe through prayer, to get back to the initial why, especially when it gets hard? And I know, Bethany, you've shared some bits and pieces around that, but I think the listeners as well are gonna be super inspired with you guys, your transparency in terms of how you are navigating this business as co-founders, as also as people of faith. So what role is prayer playing in your decision making, and also when it gets hard, when you're drifting, you find yourself drifting from the why and navigating yourself back to it? Trent?
Yeah, I find that prayer really centers me in a super important way, especially when I'm doing a sales type role. I have been contacting a lot of potential hosts, trying to explain cross exchange and encouraging them to join. And when I send out quite a few of these invitations and only receive interest from a relatively small number, it can be discouraging. And prayer reminds me, because I can get really fixated on the numbers and whatever. When I pray, I'm reminded that whatever I'm serving the Lord with my efforts, and it is not my job to convince anyone or change anyone's hearts. It is purely the Lord. So I am trying to be a good steward, and prayer reminds me of my role and all of this. It's not ultimately not my doing, but God's.
Wow. Bethany, how do you find prayer helping in your role in the business?
Yeah, I love what Trent said, and I think that's so often the truth. We go to God and we pray to change situations, and it ends up changing us instead, right? And so I think laying the foundation of our business on prayer. I do want to say I think some people get held up because they're like, God, give me a clear sign if I'm supposed to start this business, or give me a direct word. And it can almost freeze you or halt you if you feel like you haven't heard the heavens part and a clear voice say, this is exactly. I would say keep moving as you pray and see if peace follows and see if doors open. And I think that's what we've done with Cross Exchange. We've continued to pray through every aspect of the process and seen God answer prayers as we move and as we work to start this. And then just like Trent said, we've mentioned this multiple times through the podcast too, but being able to call each other and say, hey, I'm really feeling anxious about this thing, or I'm feeling discouraged today, or whatever. And instead of just someone saying, you're good, no, whatever, like to actually say, yeah, that's actually valid, but let's go to God and pray about it. Like how much more powerful than just some worldly affirmation to actually get to talk to God about that and pray over each other frequently. There's a time that sticks out to me recently where I was in the middle of grocery shopping and I got a call from Trent similar to that. It was just like, let's pause and pray, in the middle of grocery shopping. And like, how beautiful is that, to have that be our first resort rather than our last. And so we are not perfect about that, but that is definitely our goal and what we're striving to do is pray first and then let God move all the pieces for us rather than trying to figure it out first and then go to prayer as a last resort.
Isn't it interesting? Beautiful that when we have this vision and we think, oh, we're going to change the world, but the beginning of it, feel like that process is going to change us, right? That's what I heard you guys say. Like you're on this journey of transformation, this beautiful idea that is going to eventually, of course, change the world. Begins this journey by changing our hearts, changing how we see God. And prayer is also my safe space, is my place that I go to process things that I don't understand, process my pain, my confusion, and sometimes just lay there in silence and stillness, just waiting. And it's even more beautiful when you have each other with the same vision, the same intention, and really covering and speaking life. Wherever you are, whether you're in the grocery shop, Trent can call you and say, let's pray. You just say, yeah, let's do it. You find a corner. It's so practical. And I know people listening are going to be inspired because sometimes they feel like you need to call someone else, call a prophet or call this for them to speak. But you guys are speaking over each other. You're blessing your business and you are waiting and surrendering, which is something that I would like to talk to Trent about with his background coming from this orderly system and now stepping into this place where you have to trust God. I think entrepreneurship is really just learning to trust God in a way that we never experienced before, isn't it? So I want to ask you, for those that are listening, what is one misconception people have about starting something with God?
Probably along the lines of what Bethany was saying regarding prayer. I never heard a voice from heaven telling me, Trent, you shall start this business. It was truly just a slight nudge in my heart that I just felt, hey, I think this would be really great. I think cross exchange would benefit people. And I know I've enjoyed doing similar. I think other people would too. That's all that it was to start cross exchange. It required faith because if there was a voice from heaven saying, this is what you got to do, I don't see how much faith that would really take. But it did not happen that way. So it required stepping out and taking a risk. I still to this day don't know where cross exchange will be in 5 to 10 years. No one does. But I'm really glad that we've taken this first step of launching and building and doing our best as God has allowed us. And we're excited to share we have our first travelers who they have plans to travel very soon this summer to go to one of our overseas hosts. And if that does come to be, if cross exchange does bless even one person, then all of our efforts will have been worth it. It will be so fulfilling to see someone get to enjoy cross exchange and really see the fruits of international exchange. So all that to say, that's why um, I think it's been a journey that's worth taking, and why stepping out in faith is so necessary.
So nice. I can't wait to get into the cross exchange details. We want to hear all about it. But Brittany, can you tell us one misconception that people have about starting something with God?
Hmm. It's a great question. I think maybe that it's going to be easy if it's from God, because God can ask us to do very challenging things. And that's so often what he actually does call us to. He calls us to a life that is full of struggle, and he's going to sanctify us through that and be with us in it. And so I think switching that mindset from, I'm a Christian or I'm starting a Christian business, so this should be a lot easier, to, okay, I'm a Christian, so I'm probably actually going to face a lot of resistance in doing this thing. And yet God is going to be with me in it. And that's going to be the blessing. And that's going to be the life to the full. It's not an easy life, but a life with Jesus with you through the struggles, I think is the mindset shift that maybe is a little bit surprising, or I have to remind myself of frequently.
Thank you. I mean, it still involves hard work, building the connections, and some day you feel it's working, and some days like nothing is happening, and just trusting the vision and trusting God who called you to that, like Trent said. So, Trent, tell us about cross exchange. What is cross exchange, and what does it do?
Yeah, I'll start with our goal for cross exchange. Our goal for cross exchange is to connect the global church through faith and service. So we want to allow people who are interested in traveling to stay with hosts on our platform and serve with them, connecting Christians together. I'll specify that hosts on our platform are required to be professing Christians. We have a statement of faith that they agree to, whereas travelers do not. Travelers can be in any walk of life, but they should understand that they are going to be staying with a Christian family. So if they're not open to the Christian faith, this probably isn't the right fit for them. So what we're doing is we've set up a website that allows both travelers and hosts to create a profile. The traveler profile includes some information about the traveler, whereas the host profile also includes information about the host. The host enters the location or city that they're in, and a global map is available on our website with that information. And you can browse right now, you can browse the map seeing the different hosts and their opportunities. Some need childcare, some need help at different opportunities like ministering to kids in need. Some are families who have farms and other setups. All of them are welcome on Cross Exchange. And as I said before, it's completely free for all to use right now. So you get to browse this map, and if there's an opportunity you're interested in, you just click on it and you can send the host a message where it's sort of like it ends up using your email, going back and forth, and you get to see if it's the right fit for you. The host is welcome to invite you, and if so, you usually just pay for your own travel. So the traveler buys their plane ticket or bus or whatever, depending on where you're going. And then from there, once the traveler arrives, they get to stay, and they usually serve around 25 hours a week. That sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, depends on what the host feels is a fair exchange. All of that stuff is agreed upon ahead of time between the traveler and the host. So that's a little bit about what we're doing. We have safety measures in place, such as the video verification with every host. We really strive to be, I believe we are, the safest, most secure, most trustworthy platform on the market, because there are other secular work exchanges, but Cross Exchange is the very first Christian one, and we really are emphasizing safety and trust at the center of our platform.
Wow. So you said so the interactions and the maybe the rules of engagement is done between the host and the traveler. When they when they make contact, they go ahead to talk about specifications that they both prefer, and then they agree. Does the host have to send an invitation, or is there's an assumption from that connection that
Sure. Yeah, I have experience. When I reached out to these different families, what I would say on my message to them would be along the lines of, "Hi, I came across your profile. I loved that you have this opportunity. I would love to serve with your family or with your organization. I'm interested in coming on this or that date and for this or that amount of time. Is that okay with you? Would that work?" And the host then is able to reply through our Cross Exchange site saying, "Yes, that would be great," or "Unfortunately, no. Perhaps they would suggest different dates." And along those lines, after the conversation continues, they would make sure they agree upon what is expected, what kind of work will be done, what the living environment is, as well as the amount of work expected. Usually it's like a part-time job where you're getting to spend part of your week helping the ministry, and you get to spend some time exploring the area that you're in as you travel. So that is the general layout of how conversations go with Cross Exchange.
how I just see myself connected with a host or traveler. It sounds so good.
It's
I want
so
to.
easy.
I know it sounds so easy as well. So, do you have any like qualifications around if someone is listening right now and they love to be a host and also they'll love to be a traveler? Um, what are the qualifications? How do they know that they can do it?
Great question. I think that is a serious challenge that we run into. Hosts feel like they are unqualified, and perhaps some travelers too. Perhaps they feel they don't have the skills or whatever. I'll start with the host though. With the host, if you have a need, if you have a home, you are qualified to be a host. It's really more of a heart posture than it is about any physical thing. If you have questions, our website has lots of resources explaining what hosting is like and whether or not hosting would be a good fit for you. We would even be happy to answer any questions. You can contact us through our website. But I really encourage you, if you have the heart for hosting, you very, very likely are a good fit for being a host. And for the traveler side, if you have a desire to serve, you are very, very likely wanted at different spots around the world. Most of the hosts we have are looking for people with a heart for service. They don't particularly need you to have any real qualifications. It's more about, are you willing to use your hands, use your heart, use your soul to bless others, to learn and help in the different ways that our hosts need. So I highly recommend checking out the opportunities on our website. And I think you'll be happy to see that there are many opportunities that are open and would love to have you.
Can I just add on to that really briefly? So I just wanted to address to hosts specifically that, just like Trent said, it's all about the heart posture of, I love Jesus and I would love to open my home up to travelers. Because I think when we start talking with hosts, they're often like, I don't think I need any service though. But the reality is there's so many ways that travelers can serve. Trent already mentioned childcare. Even if you don't have any cooking or cleaning or yard work or anything, which who doesn't have all those things? But even if none of those things would be helpful to you, you can have travelers serve at your local church, at a local ministry in your area, or find someone in need in your community who could use the service. Maybe there's an elderly couple who doesn't feel like they could host, but man, they would be so grateful if travelers were brought there to serve. Like the moment you start to think about the needs in your community, there really is endless ways that travelers could be a blessing. And travelers want you to know that they would be blessed getting to serve. That's what we're constantly hearing from travelers. They're not scared away by the hard ministry opportunities or, you know, less than perfect living conditions or things like that. Travelers are really embracing and are really hungry for purpose and wanting to get to serve. So we definitely just like want to share that with all people interested in hosting, or if you have a friend who might have an extra room or an extra spot, that's really all it takes. If you have an extra place for travelers to stay, an extra bed, and you're able to financially provide them, you know, meals, that's all it takes really to become a host.
Wow, I was going to ask you, Bethany, actually, but you've just said a few things in your answers. Well, I wanted, because you said you've been having some meetings with hosts as well. You guys have been meeting hosts, and some of them have been very open, and some of them not quite there yet. And the ones that have been open, what gets them most excited about the idea?
Hmm. I think when they hear how much travelers want to help, I think they don't want to feel like a burden in any way. Like, like we have a host just absolutely incredible ministering to the slums in Kenya. And that's heavy. That is very heavy. And a traveler has to go in with an expectant heart and a proper mindset when approaching a situation like that. And just for context on that host, the travelers are not staying in that area. They're staying in a great, safe environment about 30 minutes away from that, but they're traveling in to serve there. And the host can feel hesitant, like, are travelers going to want this? Or are they expecting a luxury vacation and they're going to feel like, oh no. But when they hear, like, man, we have these travelers just eager to get to serve in those kind of enriching environments where they can truly get to be the hands and feet of Jesus and pour into these needing communities. I think we see host posture change of being so grateful and so much more open to, extending that invite to travelers when they come to the understanding that travelers are coming ready and expectant of situations like that, and that's not going to catch them off guard. In fact, they're going to be excited to lean in and see what God has in store in that environment.
Wow, that's I think we need more of that in the world. Like for me personally, looking around the world, everything is so chaotic, very unkind, and to sit here and talk about a service like this where people want to travel to go make a difference, to
Yeah.
go be part of something meaningful, come away from the glitz and glamour and go into the slums and dirty their hands. We need that a lot in the world right now. Not just us telling each other that we love you, I love you, and I'm there for you. Actually, putting that word into action. And I know a lot of people that wanted, I know a lot of missionaries that I have trained that have traveled from Asia. Some of them are in America right now, just serving the same what we're talking about. And they tend to move around. And so if they had something like this, it'd be easy. I remember one time we were praying and trusting for this particular person to find some other host, and so I'll definitely be talking to them about you guys, because I know they're still out there in the US. And I have someone else, Trent, you met her, and that's all she wanted to do. It's so funny she told me that story, and then I met Trent. I was like, oh my God, isn't that what you were telling me you wanted to do? And this is someone who said they wanted to even join the military because they are so wired to serve, humanity, to serve like Jesus served. And I knew that this was a dream for her, and I know that in the back of her mind she knows that it's possible. And when she's ready, I tell her to jump on with you guys and go for it. I know people off the bat that would like this idea, want to jump on. But I want to ask you again, like, I don't know how much you've been in touch. You guys have been in touch with travelers. What are the travelers looking forward to most? Because these are the people who are going to serve. What is their heart posture and what gets them excited? I know for the most part, these are people who love serving. What else do these people love? And, apart from service, what is, you mentioned childcare or whatever anybody need, the host would need. What has been the most unique experience with travelers that you guys have come across? Or maybe in conversations and possibilities and potentials of it?
Yeah. So can you ask the first part of your question again? Because I know that was kind of
What
a two-part.
what is the traits of the travelers? What are they looking forward to? Because we know they're like people who have a heart to serve. Like, what are they really excited about to take that journey on? And also, what is the unique trait you found, or maybe a unique traveler that is not the normal Christian missionary one you guys have
Right.
experienced?
So a large part of our target audience for travelers that are signing up are young adults in their, early mid 20s who maybe recently graduated high school or recently graduated college. And one thing, a lot of people can say a lot of concerns about my generation, and I'm not going to say that's not valid, but I will say one thing I love about my generation is that we're wired for purpose. My generation is really hungry to make an impact, to make a difference. And that's a luxury in a lot of ways, that we are in a place as society that we can think beyond putting food on the table, that we can think, well, what are my specific skill sets, or how could I make a difference in society? And my generation is hungry to travel and hungry for purpose. And so we're just kind of combining those things and giving them a platform for that. And so traits we often see in travelers is exactly that: young people hungry to make a difference. Often they don't have a ton of expertise or training in a specific field because they're young. And maybe that's even part of the reason they're wanting to travel, is to explore, you know, what kind of, do I like manual labor more, or do I gravitate? One of our hosting opportunities could be technology support, or so many of, creative ways you can serve, like through social media help if they have a business. Like, just so many things like that that explore different just areas of purpose in travelers. And so we're seeing a lot of them hungry to just get out and try things. And so that's why it's exciting when hosts are just wanting to open their doors to a variety of travelers, because it's allowing these young people to kind of get to tap into, how could I make a difference in society, and what kind of clicks with me. As for a specific traveler, no specific ones are coming to mind for me right now, but all I can say is they're amazing. Every time we get new travelers on, I'm like, oh, hosts are gonna love you. Just young people hungry to serve Jesus and help others. not afraid to go into hard situations or difficult living conditions. And I think just that eagerness is the biggest trend we're seeing among travelers, just a heart posture of readiness and eagerness to serve. Would you add anything to that, Trent?
No, that's exactly it. It's both the hosts and travelers catch the vision for cross exchange, both want to connect the global body of Christ, and they want to connect and serve. So I loved meeting all of the hosts, and the travelers we've met are just so wonderful too. So yeah, really incredible people. I highly recommend being part of it.
I mean, I'm so drawn to the entrepreneurial wanting a traveler for tech support and also social media. So that was really good to hear the diversity of the traveler's experience, or what they can provide. And I also love the fact that they don't really need to know any specific thing, just have a heart to serve, and they can even go there and learn what they want them to do, isn't it? And then start helping out as well. So it's really open for those that are listening. You want to be part, don't let nothing hold you back. Get into conversation with Bethany and Trent and meet this amazing host. For those of you that want to travel and those of you that want to host, don't stop yourself from meeting amazing travelers. For me, I'm thinking about just meeting new people, right? Like, having someone come over and then you build this connection and seeing how they live and sharing your human experiences as well really enriches us. And that brings us to Tren. You have traveled and you've come up close to all this different culture. You have a global church perspective that most of us do not have through the different hosts that you lived with, you volunteered, and you had these experiences of them serving God and having relationship with God in a way that was different from you. What's something you learned about God from those experiences? And if you want to share one with us, it would be good.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Dylis. That is such a good point. One of my favorite parts of my travels were getting to see churches around the world and the different ways that worship services looked like around different parts. I recall in New Zealand, there was a small church that the host I was staying with was part of, and they actually only met every other week because the minister was traveling between two different cities, so he could only make it every other week. So the week that we run out to church, we realized it was an off week. There was another man who also didn't realize that the service wasn't happening that week, that was also at the building. So we got together with this gentleman, and we went to his house and we sang worship music together. And it was a beautiful moment of intimate worshiping the Lord. And I'm grateful for that experience, because it's not the kind of church that I have mostly grown up with. And I also enjoyed getting to see the church in Indonesia. That was perhaps one of the most different from what I'm used to. The church got together before Christmas and prepared meals for all the congregants, and that included butchering a pig. They, as the men of the church got together and did that together, and that was routine, part of the way that they were able to serve their community, because that pig was prepared for their meal, and it was incredible. And it was not something that I thought was something a church would do together, but it totally is. So there's so many more stories about just services look different and worship styles vary across the world, but it's a great reminder that we're all serving Jesus, and we all recognize that we need the Lord to save us, and I want to worship him with everyone I can. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up. That was one of the best parts of my travels, getting to see churches around the world.
So, from your experience, I'm going to follow right up with this other question. What do you think the Western Church can learn from different faith communities across the world? Did you learn anything? Was it a realization? I saw pictures of you, sitting on the back of this truck with these guys. I think that must have been maybe Indonesia or somewhere, maybe Brazil. You were just like having so much fun at that picture. Maybe it was a video. I was just like, oh my god, look at that. And then there was another picture of you in the field with like the animal, the cattle. It was so cool. So what do you think the Western Church can learn from those other communities?
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, not to criticize the Western Church. I belong to I guess, a church that would be considered a Western church, but there are many ways that the Lord can be worshipped, and there's perhaps a lot of commonality between churches, especially evangelical churches in North America, and it doesn't have to all look the same. There's churches that are singing multiple languages in the same service. In Indonesia, at a different church service, I saw a service where they were singing some songs in English and in Indonesian. And I don't think a lot of them knew the English, but anyway, it's just, there's so much diversity. Um, I'm probably not qualified to really uh, speak on this, but there's a lot of different ways that people are serving Jesus.
Yeah, diversity is really important, isn't it? Like just opening all different. I think in Revelation it say every tongue, every culture coming together. It's so beautiful. Bethany, you want to say something on that?
Yeah, I think my main thought is that I think in Western culture, sometimes we isolate what church is, what worship is. And just like Trent said, them eating together, them cooking together, that's part of their worship. And I think to us that we can isolate those so much that we miss it when we realize God is given glory when we sing songs to him, when we give a message to him. He's also given glory when we do our daily jobs and we eat and we all of these things when we do it for the glory of God and we do it with that mindset. And so I think churches outside of Western culture do a better job than we do of doing life together and understanding that church is more than a Sunday morning, but church is capital C, the body of Christ that we are meant to live in community with and serve alongside and all of the things of life together. And so I think Trent was really immersed in that through his travels. From all the stories I heard, they brought him into that too, and how humbling and how welcoming to feel like I am a foreigner, but you've treated me like family. And honestly, that is what bred this business, because it was like we want to foster that mentality for believers around the world.
And I completely feel that just being with you guys for the past few minutes, when we got here, it felt like we've known each other for like years, old friends getting together and asking, what have you been doing? It's been so long. And it's just a testament to how you guys embody this mission. Um, so good, so true that for some culture, churches Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, what they do with each other is in Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then really not different when they meet together to share whether to share a meal on a Sunday or to prepare the meal before the Sunday. So it's something that we can think about and see how we can start incorporating those different colors of what it means to worship and to be a church even in the West as well. So let's go to, we're almost done. Let's go to the this or that question to like break us away. So I'm gonna ask if two different words, and you pick which one resonate with you, or maybe it doesn't. You're free to like give whatever answer you want to. So the first one would be control or surrender. Bethany.
I want to control, I'm learning to surrender. If I'm being honest, we're being honest here, right?
Yes. Nothing but honesty. Okay, thank you, Trent.
That as a follower of Christ, I'm learning about surrender every single day.
Good. Build fast or grow deep.
Sorry, say that again.
Build fast,
Oh.
like build something quickly,
Mm-hmm.
or grow deep.
Mm-hmm. I think that's an easy one for us. We're build deep. We want to lay the foundations right and allow God to make this business and all things in life ready in their own timing.
Good. Trent, You have the same.
Definitely, for sure. Definitely build deep.
Okay. Metrics or meaning, like metrics and measurements of how the business is doing, how many people are coming across, or meaning.
Meaning, it's about individuals and blessing people, not about how many stats we can put up or the number of clicks on our website.
Love that. The next one is visibility or obscurity. Let's hear the sales guy.
Visibility.
For sure.
Regarding cross exchange, we want cross exchange to be as visible as possible because people can't be blessed by it if they don't know it's out there. So we wanted visibility in this season. In certain aspects of life, obscurity is great, but not for this.
I love your humility, Trent. Bethany, do you agree?
I totally agree. I was letting Trent answer that one because I think he is more tending to be a more private person at times, and so it's a stretch for him to lean into the visibility aspect for the business.
I love that. That's a smart move, Bethany. You let him answer that. So he can really navigate the whole process in that moment as well. So that's good. So the next one is stillness or momentum.
Both. Can I answer both in this one?
Yeah.
As a follower of Christ, we need the stillness to reconcile. To recognize our need for the Lord, and to navigate the challenges of business and entrepreneurship. But movement is required to build a movement of Christian travelers and hosts. So learning to navigate both.
Good.
I would say stillness is what I'm learning right now. That God can do more in my stillness than than I can do in constant movement.
Oh, that's deep. Bethany, you're taking us deep. Okay. Thank you for that answer. And the other one, this is we're almost done. Obedience or understanding.
Obedience.
Go ahead, Bethany. I like both.
Yeah, I think if you wait till you understand, you're going to be waiting all the way until you get to heaven. Let me tell you. But when you're obedient and you trust that God has a plan and a purpose for your life bigger than what you could even dream up on your own, you're never going to regret being obedient.
Love it. Love it. Trent, what do you say?
Yes.
Good.
Obedience wins. Yeah.
Good. I agree too. You don't have to wait till you get all the details. You know all the turns and whatnot. Just step out, right? So the last one, this is a good one for you guys. I love it for you. CEO or servant?
Servant.
Servant.
As any business owner can tell you, it's successful businesses are built upon serving both your customer and serving your team. So we are both in a mindset of how can we serve one another and how can we serve everyone who uses cross exchange to the best of our abilities.
This is juicy. Bethany, what do you say?
I don't know how to follow that. That was perfect. That's exactly how I feel. We're just trying to serve both our target audiences of travelers and hosts as best we can.
I think even Jesus was a servant leader as well, isn't it? Like being a CEO, you are serving at a very high level. It's still service. So that's such a beautiful answer in that. So we're up to our last segment. So, Trent, what's the most radical act of trust you've made since launching Cross Exchange?
I think launching cross exchange itself was the most radical act of trust in this whole process. It was a dream when I began my travels, or it was actually partway through the travels where the dream began. But it's one thing to have a dream, it's another thing to take the initiative to make it a reality and take the risk. It's not guaranteed to go well, and You never know. But I trust that I'm going to follow the Lord to the best that I can, and that He will provide for me as He has throughout all my travels. There were certain moments, Dylis, where there were some times where I didn't know where I'd be sleeping the next night, so trust was involved throughout the whole process. And
To
so
clarify,
launching,
he wasn't with a host home.
right.
You were
It
with the
wa-
host at that time, isn't it? During those times.
yeah, when I would be in between hosts or when I did the excursions. Yeah. Thank you, Bethany. So changing cross exchange from being a dream to being a reality was perhaps the most faith filled, difficult part of this process so far. And now that we've jumped off the cliff, so to speak, and now we are fully in and doing our best to get the word out about cross exchange.
No going back. This is it. Now
Yes.
you're off the cliff in the air. Like you're out of the boat and you are on the water with Jesus. And that's the best place to be in. That's where the breakthrough happened. I'm excited for you guys. Bethany, what is one truth you live by now that you didn't believe before stepping into this?
Hmm. I think it's cool to get to look back and see that God really is provider every step of the way. I think that we say things like that, but then our human flesh kicks in and you're like, okay, great, but like practically, how are we going to build this? Practically, how are we going to overcome this obstacle? Practically, we don't have the connections to start this. How is like you kind of get ahead of God in a sense, and that's been the constant struggle of like not getting ahead of God and allowing Him to kind of truly be our provider each step of the way. But I would already get to look back and say it really is amazing to see the way that He provides one step forward. Rarely does He give you more than that. We don't know two steps, but we got the one step. And I kind of love that picture. Like you're stepping out over, a body of water, a pond, and it's scary because you can't cross it on your own, but you keep getting one stone put in front of you. And it's like, okay, just take that one step. And then all of a sudden you start looking back and you're like, oh, we're already out in the water. And like, this is scary because kind of no going back now, but we still can't make it all the way on our own. But it is cool in a sense to look back and say, yeah, but all those other stones weren't here at the start either. God continues to provide each step in the right time that you need it. And so reminding ourselves of that often and just thanking God for that truth that He is our provider and we can trust Him in that.
Oh, so true. Don't we all experience that? Like we almost pass out before the next stone is placed before us, isn't it? They have to raise us from the floor. Like get up, this the next.
Only one.
No, you're not. Like we all experience it, so it's good to hear you guys your story and how you're navigating this behind the scene thought process and your faith journey with this, and still moving with it boldly and talking about it, knowing that even where you guys are right now, God will bring the next step and bring the people you need, bring the hosts, and touch hearts as I listen to you guys talk about this. So, Trent, I want to ask you this question. What's one thing about leadership you didn't understand until you were in this process of founding Cross Exchange?
Before this role, as you mentioned, I served in the U.S. Air Force, where near the end of my time, I did have a team that I was helping train and lead to some degree. So I thought I had some experience with leadership, and I suppose I did. But there's a difference with cross exchange than with any role I did before. With this entrepreneurial endeavor, there are days where I get to a problem, such as sales, right? How do I get the word out about cross exchange? Where there is no boss to turn to, no leadership, no commander above you. You have to figure out what the best steps forward are, and you have to own it. You don't know, if what you're doing is perhaps the very right answer, or the perfect way to move forward. But you have to do your best and give God the rest. So that's been the biggest entrepreneurial challenge of this is there's no roadmap. It is a course that you have to, Bethany and I walk it together of figuring out our next steps. And of course, we would like it all to move as fast as possible and like to have, there's a million things we would like to do today, but it's just these things take time. And we have to keep adjusting and seeing what kind of hosts are interested in cross exchange, for example. So learning on the go without some kind of supervisor or leadership directing us at all is perhaps the biggest challenge of this.
Yeah, and I think on any entrepreneurial journey, that's what it is. I experienced that myself. You have to make those decisions, and sometimes the decision don't bring the fruits that you think it would, and you have to go around that whole circle a couple of times to like master it or understand it, and then keep trying again. And it's so true about entrepreneur, but it changes you for all the good ways, good reasons, and you will never be the same. And then you become so grateful that you were trusted with that vision to bring to the world to serve people. So I know there are people who are listening. You have people who would like to travel, people who would like to host, and also people, because you guys have spoken to this different categories of people. People who like to host, and people who like to be travelers, and also entrepreneurs who have been, in church for a very long time and they've been carrying this vision. To those of them listening and they're afraid to co-build, they're afraid to step out and host and bring in this variety of talents and gifts and experience. And also travelers who want to go out there and experience the world in different ways that they've not experienced. What would you say to this category of people that are holding back and afraid to take the big leap? It's 2025. Go out and live your dreams. Bethany, what do you say to these people?
I think life with Jesus is meant to be exciting. And I think we're meant to step outside of our comfort zone. And I think hosting travelers into your home or being the traveler and going to other people's homes is a great way to expand your comfort zone. But we are meant to live in community, and getting to do life with other believers really is such a blessing. I think both travelers and hosts that are on the fence will be blown away with how blessed they are by the opportunity to connect with other believers from around the world. And so, really, that's what I would say. It might not be within your comfort zone, and I would say that's great if that's how you feel, because God loves expanding our horizons, and life to the full with Jesus is an adventurous life. And that is what we are trying to allow for believers on both the hosting and traveler side of the network through Cross Exchange.
Beautiful. Trent, what do you say to these people?
Bethany said it really well. It is, I have nothing more to add to that. Bethany, great job.
Good. So finally, where can people find you? Where can people find Cross Exchange? I know we're going to add some of your links to this episode on those different platforms, but tell the people about your work and how they can get to experience what you do.
Yeah. So Cross Exchange is live. You can sign up, create a traveler or a host profile. Just visit crossexchange.org. And we're on social media as well under similar tags. But we recommend checking it out. Go ahead.
I say cross.exchange on Instagram is how you can follow along. We're just beginning the journey on Instagram. Mostly we're focused on our website and building our platform of hosts right now. But it's always fun to be at the beginning and follow along for the process. But yes, crossexchange.org is definitely the place to go to learn all the things about who we are, what we're doing, and how you can be a part of it.
And I just want to encourage your listeners, Dylis, if there is a dream that they have, a business idea, build what you would like to have. Cross Exchange was built in a way because it's exactly what I was looking for when I was planning my travels after my time in the Air Force. And I'm so grateful that God gave us the opportunity to start this. So If you have an idea that you would like to see come to fruition, build it. If it doesn't exist, trust in the Lord and make it happen.
So, my friends, you heard it from the people themselves. Go build that dream. Build whatever you want. Write the book that you wish you could find and that doesn't exist, and go to that country that you've never been to before. And now Cross Exchange is here to help that dream come to pass to you. Make sure you check them out. We would put the link in the section comment. Also, make sure you share this story about Cross Exchange to your pastors, your friends, missionaries around the world. I would certainly be doing that with all my contacts to let them know that there's a way so we can extend the kingdom and let the kingdom be fun and adventurous. Bethany says working with Jesus can be exciting and can be adventurous as well. And so let's put that into practice and jump on board this beautiful platform that Bethany and Trent are building. So we have come to the end. Thank you so much, Bethany. Thank you, Trent, for this beautiful, inspiring, enlightening conversation. Thank you for not just what you guys are building, but for how you're building it. You've talked us through your heart behind this work, and I must say it's very captivating. I know it's going to draw a lot of people in because you all have your stories so captivating and very magnetic, and your heart for Jesus comes through as well. Your faith comes through, your authenticity comes through as well. Thank you again for trusting the slow process and not wanting the metrics of the world. The way you listen to God when there's really no map. You guys don't have a map for this. You're really navigating it in the Christian world in the way that God is showing you guys, and for reminding us that obedience is the real metric of success. Thank you so much.
Thank
Um,
you.
yes.
So grateful for this conversation, and you feel like an old friend.
I thank you. I know I did feel that too. So you guys will be in very good company with Bethany and Trent because they have amazing heart. And you would go on their platform and you feel like, oh my God, I've met these people before, and you want to jump on their host or become a traveler yourself. And I know you're gonna have amazing stories to tell when you come back from the experience. So if this episode stirred something in you, share it. Don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe to our podcast and share it with other people. You can visit me at www.dylis.com. If you want to go deeper on your journey of clarity, calling, and courage, we'd love to support you and serve you, because this is how we build the life we love as a community. One bold yes at a time. And I hope you do say yes to your adventures with Bethany and Trent as well. Until next time, my friends, stay grounded, stay really grounded and loving yourself, and know that Jesus loves you as well. If this conversation spoke to you today, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs it. And be sure to follow Build the Life You Love on your favorite podcast platform so you can never miss an episode. And if this resonated with you, leave a comment, share your thoughts, and help us spread this movement of living boldly, building deeply, and loving fully. To explore my latest offerings, sessions, and ways to go deeper on your journey, visit www.dylis.com. You can also connect with me on social media. Just search for @Dylis everywhere. This is how we build the life we love together. Until next time, stay rooted, stay rising, and stay true to yourself.